Legends rise, it's the creator's game. This is college lacrosse game day.
Wheels, Kodak, wheels!
Kodak's dead.
Yeah, who are you?
Xander's dead.
Xander's dad, the other Fogo.
Yep. Nice to meet you. Kodak's been doing well. He's
Yeah, I heard he went 60% against your son in practice.
Who told you that?
Kodak.
I'm sure they've been having some good battles back and forth. It's a great program we got here.
Yeah, I heard Xander got bested at the Philly Showcase last week.
He actually did okay.
Against the Skipjacks?
Yeah.
Not what I heard.
All right. You know, he's getting...
Where's he going?
We don't know yet. He really wants to, find a school that he wouldn't otherwise get into if lacrosse wasn't in the picture.
That's cute.
Where's Kodak going?
Don't worry about where Kodak's going.
Where does he want to go?
Kodak's going to go wherever the hell he wants to play. All right? Just remember that. And he's going to take most of the draws this weekend at the Crowd Fest. And when we go to Field 9 and play against the Skipjacks after this, best believe Kodak's going to be taking most of the draws.
Xander's been doing a pretty good job, I'd say myself.
Your son's got a slow punch, all right? He can't get over the ball like he used to.
Kodak can't pick up a ground ball.
Kodak did a monkey roll last week. You know what that is?
Motorcycle grip. You can't do that.
You can. At this level, you can.
We'll see. See you over at Field 9?
Yeah, I'll see you Field 9.
All right, have a good one, man.
Game Day's back for the fastest sport on 2 feet. It's Army-Navy week. We are binging Band of Brothers and telling you everything you need to know for this rivalry. Syracuse, Cornell, and much more as conference play gets as tense as our portfolios. As always, let's start with our 80-second shot clock starting Friday, April 4th.
Navy sank Lafayette 14-8 to start conference play.
Saturday, April 5th. If Brown's streaks start to turn red, quit digging. Cornell wipes Brown 13-9.
Delaware rewrites the pecking order in a dominant 17-9 win over Stony Brook.
The Stags were 14-point bucks who took pride in punishing Hofstra. 14-10, Fairfield.
Loyola asks all who is holy to give them a win, and they got it in overtime, 12-11.
Duty, honor, country, and ground balls. Army wins the Battle of Hamilton over Colgate 13-7.
Villanova rewrote the Book of Providence, Chapter 1, Nova 11, Friars 8.
Duke beats the 10-man ride, some gnarly Boston weather, and BU 12-7.
Harvard dropped 18 points on an unassigned reading. How to dismantle the Big Green in 60 minutes, 18-7 Crimson.
Gary opened the gates to his kingdom of 11,000 for Cuse's 14-9 triumph over Notre Dame.
Georgetown digs deep and ices Marquette in double OT, 10-9.
Ohio finally legalized Marinier. The 6'3 Canadian had 6 rips for the Buckeyes in their 14-10 win over Hopkins.
High Point gets to a high point in their season. Huge upset at UMass, 14-9 Pants.
That whole Yale thing worked out on Saturday. Bulldogs beat Penn 14-11.
UNC was pronounced Unk this weekend. Everyone and their uncle watched them double up Virginia, 18-9 in Chapel Hill.
Rutgers called Coach Tillman and said, "We're wearing black. Figure it out." The Scarlet Knights were thieves in the night, upsetting Maryland 8-6.
Sunday, April 6th, Penn State heard "Go Blue," but they saw red, 11-8 over Michigan.
We took a week off. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I have a glowing tan that is earned through sunburn and aloe.
Did you get a bad sunburn?
Bad.
How bad? Like peeling?
No, not peeling. I was familiar with the Caribbean sun, so I prepared myself to some extent, but it was fun. It was a good release. I was bummed we didn't film. It was a collective decision as well. Let's not send more death threats to Dan. It was a team decision, but I enjoyed myself. Myself.
No, I think we enjoyed the time off too. You know, like this is easy when we sit down, but thinking about it all week and preparing for it is a lot of work. So having a off week, especially when Dan was away, was good for everybody. Nice little reset mid-season here to really kick it into gear as we close this one out.
100%. And we're consistent with content. We got some stuff out there, right, Brett?
Yeah, we did. Dan and I were in the booth.
We were.
We were in the. We tried our shot at commentating.
It was the first time, and it might be the last time.
Mitchell Pocky's doing the Big Ten. We're doing MIAA high school
and not the MIAA you think.
Yeah, no, the Massachusetts one. Massachusetts one.
Did the boys pull it out, by the way, in that game?
They did.
Sure did.
All right, good. That's all that matters.
Sure did. Beat Niskayuna.
Let Hayden talk about that.
Yeah, it was a good win. Second win of the season. So we're up to 4-0 now. That's always good for confidence and everything else. So, yeah, it's good to have Brett and Dan in the box. They They pushed the limit. They didn't cross the line, I'd say, but they came awfully close to it. But hopefully they're coming back soon.
That's what we're here to
Where
do.
you want to be.
We did an interview with the athletic director at halftime to save face a little bit. I asked him about NIL. We should have included that in there.
Yeah.
He was like, "What?" No, it was a complete joy. We'll be back in a few
Absolutely.
more times this year. We got Collins to get to, but anything else before we return? A lot's happened in the last couple weeks. Some upsets, a lot of shifts that we'll cover here. But lacrosse is ramping up.
There's obviously been some huge results. Don't want to go through all of them because I'm sure you've all seen them, but I think just touching on the top 10 real quick could give some good context of where we stand right
Sure.
now. So D1 media poll, the Kane men's Division 1 media poll, which is the official one, Kane footwear.
Yeah,
Yes.
we do.
Yeah, so
Got me
they
a pair of those.
They sponsor the Division 1 media poll on Inside Lacrosse now, so they have all year long. Top 10 right now is Cornell. They're 9-1. They're number 1. Ohio State is 11-1. They're at 2. At 3 is Princeton, 8-2. 4 is Syracuse at 9-2. 5 is Army at 9-1. 6 is Maryland at 8-2. 7 is UNC at 8-2. 8 is Penn State at 7-3. 9 is Notre Dame at 5-3, and 10 is Harvard at 8-2. Sorry, I just trying to give some context.
No, that's good. That's good.
Some things,
Who was 7?
some things have changed, but then also, you got Duke, Georgetown, Michigan, St. Joe's, Rutgers, Hopkins in that 10 to 20 range. So it's an open playing field this year, I'd say.
I can't wait. Yeah, it's not going to look the same too in a few weeks here down the stretch. Conference play betting is. I don't know if I'm going to bet anymore. That's been tough. Let's not talk about that right now. Let's get to these call-ins, and maybe they can help us recap what's happened these last couple weeks. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Instagram. That's where all our content is. Here we go.
I was actually lacrosse. Is that game with the fucking fish stick there, the nets there?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Calling in. My name's Dan Arestia.
Pat Spencer Jr., if you're not committed to Maryland and ranked top 3 in your class, by the end of your junior year, I'll shave your head and I'll ship your ass off to boarding school in Alaska faster than Lamar Jackson 40-yard dash.
Dean Mitty back here. Y'all know why I'm calling in. Orange got it done. Number 22 whipped out his little Joey Spilliner and wiped it all over the mouth of them Irishmen. Try them bagpipes on for size. Now 5 points in what I'd argue to be a pretty big game. Now, all you haters and you naysayers out there got to give the boy some credit. Still got Syracuse coming out on top of the ACC. What do y'all think?
Needed to talk about this win for Syracuse over Notre Dame, 14-9. Anish on the call, again, was poetry from him. Every word out of his mouth, but huge result for Syracuse. They were 2.5 goal underdog going into that game, and they come out on top, and a captured moment for Gary Gate, getting over 11,000 fans in, as he said on our show, was one of his goals as the head coach of Syracuse.
Yeah, that was a beautiful atmosphere. It's always better when Syracuse is good. It really raises the ceiling of college lacrosse, I think, right? It doesn't necessarily bring other teams' attendance up, but when you have a stage like that prevalent in college lacrosse,
it's good for the game. You're not getting
good for the
11,000
game.
people at a game if Syracuse isn't at the top. So that's my thought.
I was shocked when I threw the game on because you know how the camera angle it's facing the opposite side
With
The
less
near
fans.
sides the near sides where most fans sit, like Dan said, opposite side, not as many, and I could tell how many people were there just from the opposite side. That place was packed. And then he mentioned Cuse's spot in the ACC. I mean, they're the only 2-0 team right now. They're the only 2-0 team, and they got over Notre Dame, which is probably one of the hardest teams to beat in the ACC. So Dean might not be too off on something over there.
No, he said it a couple weeks ago, too. That's a good point, Mike. Syracuse 2-0, Carolina's 1-0, Notre Dame split 1-1, Duke 0-1, Virginia 0-2. So his prediction could come true. They got to beat Duke in North Carolina to go 4-0 in the ACC, but they got Cornell this week. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Next call.
Next, we have Top String giving us a call talking about the Big Ten battle.
Howdy, Paul Revel's Top String here. I remember at the beginning of the season, I asked you the question, who was going to win the Big Ten? And it was either Maryland or Hopkins. And, you got to rekindle that conversation, guys, because Ohio State is on top of the world right now. And quite frankly, I think that loss against Utah was the best thing that ever happened to them, because I'm still not even taking those guys seriously. But we all know the Big Ten is a slugfest, and that could be anybody's conference. So now I'll ask again, who's pulling it out, man?
Ohio State is 11-1.
11 straight wins.
Yeah. And every week you're like, oh, no, I don't know. And they just keep.
I bet against
I know.
them. I bet against them last week.
No.
I was like, I don't know. It's gotta crumble at some point, right? No. Nope. No. Instead, Hopkins is 0-3, and Penn State's 1-2 at the bottom of the Big Ten.
It doesn't make any sense. We gave Ohio State and Rutgers so much shit. We leaned into them, and we did. There was no holdback. We thought they deserved it. Boy, have they responded.
They have. They sure have.
Yeah. This upcoming game against Maryland is going to be a real test, I think. We all know what happened last year with the whole Glovegate scandal and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when Maryland called the Ohio State player for wearing the wrong glove? Right. So I think there's definitely some bad blood there. But yeah, pretty amazing. Not how I would have predicted this. I think Top String was also talking about just like the Big Ten as a whole. It is such a dense conference. Like anybody in that conference can beat anybody at any given time. We saw Rutgers beat Maryland. That was like, the bottom of the Big Ten beating the top of the Big Ten. And then you got Hopkins and Michigan and Penn State and all these teams that are like at one point in the year, we thought they were Final Four teams.
Yeah.
And
even Michigan the last couple of weeks lost to Penn State last week, but before that, you're like, God, they can beat anyone after that Maryland win at Maryland.
Every team makes the conference playoffs too, and I believe he asked, "Who do we think at this point right now who's going to come off top?" Right? Did he not ask that?
Yeah, let's go around the horn. You, Mike.
If you made me pick right now, I'm gonna stay strong and say Maryland comes back.
Same. Can't bet against Maryland in the tournament there.
I'm going to take a road less traveled and go with Hopkins. I think that they've kind of hit a little slump recently, but the way that they played in the beginning of the season and who they have on their team and who their coaching staff is, I think that they're capable of winning it and getting to the NCAA tournament.
I like Ohio State. Hopkins is going to have to win 3 games if they want to win the Big Ten. So that's important to keep in mind.
They're 0-3 against the Big Ten.
Jesus.
That's far.
Next call.
Oh my God. We have Caleb. Caleb's calling in about volume shooters. Caleb has also DM'd us 5 audio message before this week, and it wasn't even for the segment. So let's give Caleb some airtime.
Thank you, Caleb.
Yo, what up, boys? It's Caleb. Let's get one thing straight. Ohio State is laying dong on Maryland next weekend. And it's all because of Marinier. This guy's having a fucking tremendous year right now. He's 40-2 on the season. And let me tell you, those 2 assists he had, he should have took it for himself. I mean, he should shoot it every time he touches the ball. First volume shooter in the history of college lacrosse. I mean, this guy's out of this world. Should be the first overall draft pick over C.J. Kirst. I mean, love that guy, but Marinier, bro.
40-2. What a stat line. Holy crap.
That is crazy.
Did you guys know about this guy before this year?
Every single call was about Marinier.
Yeah, all of them. Like middle of the week.
Maybe it's him.
He's pumping his own tires.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, Alex. Did you guys know about this kid before the season?
No, I actually didn't.
Me neither.
No, but I mean, he went 6-1 against Hopkins last week, 3-0 against Rutgers the week before. Yeah, I mean, he just puts the ball in the net. We've all seen him play. He's a big kid. He has a hammer of a shot. He just is a natural goal scorer, for a Canadian. He's just a good piece of the puzzle for Ohio State.
He reminds me a lot of Trey LeClaire. He's kind of like the replacement.
Yeah, a little less explosive, I'd say, but
just give me the ball and rip it.
Yeah,
I think he fits into that, like Ohio State. I said earlier in the year, like they just look like the scariest club team you've ever seen at a tournament. Like every kid is just 6'2", 6'3", has calves of Adonis, and he's just fits into that mold perfectly. And a 40-2 stat line, that speaks for itself. That's insane. And yeah. Go ahead.
That's like an Alex Ovechkin type stat line.
It is.
Just a goal scorer, man.
Yeah, and also, like, he was saying that he's a volume shooter. He is a volume shooter, but he shoots at an extremely high shooting percentage. I mean, he's like 75%, 75%, 50, 56, and he's taken 7, 8, 9 shots a game, right? That's a high percentage. A lot of times you see these volume shooters shooting 13, 14 shots and having 2 goals. Like this guy executes on all of his shots. So
our next highest goal scorer is 20. So he's double Garrett Haas, the sophomore attackman from Texas. But Ohio State, man, they're hot. Next call.
Yep. Next call, we got J-Rock just giving us a quick little touch point. Also about the Big Ten. Don't want to take too much time here.
Hey, Rockefeller here. Checking in from Bora Bora. Thanks to Rutgers money line. Not that I needed the money my dad paid. But I mean, what's going on in the Big Ten here, fellas? Help me out.
So Bora Bora, I had to look it up, is an island in French Polynesia. His dad paid for the whole thing, but Michigan money line sure helped. I mean, we don't have to spend
Rutgers money line. He said.
Rutgers money line.
Thank you. We don't have to spend too much time here. We've beaten the drum on the Big Ten. It's tough not to watch. It's the best conference in lacrosse right now. You can't really argue it.
And say what you want about Big Ten Plus and Big Ten Network and all the fees associated with it. They are phenomenal broadcasts. Every single one is phenomenal.
Besides the Princeton Penn State.
Right. I mean, that was like week 1, though. They were still figuring it all out. But since then, Big Ten Network is my favorite platform to watch a game on.
Yeah.
But I think it's better than ESPN.
Mark Dixon, Joe Beninati. I could go down the list with the names, but yeah, it could be. I think it's backed by Fox too.
Yeah, it could be.
Because I clicked a web stream was trying to see what channel the.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, if you click the web stream on Inside Lacrosse, it'll bring you to Fox Sports,
and it's like you get to watch for 20 minutes, and then you got to subscribe.
Right. Yeah,
so,
but we have it. So,
but like all those programs, like in the stadiums that they play in, some play in the football stadium, some have their own lacrosse facilities. Like they all figured out the camera angle, and they all figured out exactly where the commentators need to be. It really is just a seamless broadcast, and that's as much as we can ask for as a lacrosse fan. So I think we're all fans of the Big Ten right now.
It's a great product. Next call.
If you emptied your DraftKings on Rutgers money line, you got some fucking cojones. All right, I'll say that much. You deserve to be in Bora Bora. Go ahead.
Next, we got Cookies calling in from the Big Apple. He's got a take about TLN frustrations.
What's going on, college lacrosse? Game day. I just watched the Saints with a huge dub over Middlebury. Nescat can't handle the cold weather. Love to see it. Want to bring up something that I'm not sure if you guys saw that Lacrosse Network posts every year on social media, but it's just become the most ridiculous social media gag ever, and it honestly pisses me off. Every year they seem to post a joke, troll, April Fool's Day joke of like Clemson adding D1's men's lacrosse, or this year it was SEC to announce men's lacrosse in 2026 or 2027. And I just don't understand why they're just making a mockery of the limited growth that men's lacrosse at the D1 level has seen. It's nearly impossible to add men's programs, and with NIL, who knows where it's going to go. And they seem to just engage clips and views and making fun of D1 men's lacrosse, and it's just ridiculous.
Wow. On April Fool's Day, I opened my phone, and the first thing I saw was that. And I bit like a fish.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I swear to
No,
God.
you
I literally
didn't.
saw it and I said,
No, you didn't, dude.
My heart dropped. I was like, no way.
I've seen it.
See, the thing is, like, I opened my Instagram and I knew that that's the first thing that was going to be on it, and I was like, I had Cookie's reaction.
It was marginally convincing because they did announce the years the teams were being introduced, and they were kind of like spread out a little bit, like kind of random.
They need to be original. They did it last year too.
But he's taking it personal. he thinks that, like,
I agree.
It's making fun of NCAA lacrosse. It's a good take. It's fair.
Like it's just belittling us. Like it's just admitting, like, hey, we're just not going to be there. We're not going to be in these schools. Maybe we will eventually, but
I can see that perspective of it. Also, it was April Fool's Day, so that's kind of the point of it. I guess on the note of TLN and some of these other big media companies, like that is mainstream media. Like that's what they do, right? They kind of beat around the bush a little bit and they present the facts. Like that's their job, is to provide true stories, true stats, keep everybody up to date on what's actually happening.
Not TLN. TLN is highlight city. Let's find the flashiest highlights ever.
Okay, but at its core, it's mainstream media. And like, yeah, I mean,
I think it's garbage.
I mean, yeah, it's whatever you want to consume. Like I don't
It's
find
clickbait.
Yep.
It's clickbait. The overhyping of MCLA just annoys the shit out of me too. The whole thing annoys me. I think it's fucking stupid.
Do you want her bust?
No, that's not what I'm saying either. Because I know people who have played club and they're they care and whatnot, but it's the media outlets that like push it, shove it in your mouth, that like in your face, that like it'd be that so much greater if fucking LSU was in Division I lacrosse. Like, yeah, that'd be cool, but like,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up.
Well, that the real stuff is actually growing the game in some capacity, saying like people are playing it, but I feel like this is just completely counterintuitive. I think it's just a waste.
Don't make a mockery of our game.
Yeah.
TLN. This is our
don't
game.
like it.
It's not yours. It's ours.
Simple. All right, next call. We got Tommy Two Tits calling in about a rule changes.
Hey, College Lax Game Day. It's your boy Tony Two Tits calling back in again. Really excited to talk to you. I actually have a very good point, a very important point, a very serious point that I'm excited to talk about here. But I want to start off with a joke. What's the difference between Paul Carcaterra and Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ didn't think he was God. Your mother. All right, Carc. Yeah, buddy. So I'm calling in today to talk a bit of strategy here. I've been thinking for a long time, why don't they make the crease bigger? They want to make the game faster, more up pace. Nothing will do that more than opening the crease. Defenders will push out more checks, less camping back pipe, less crease dives, more dodging, more passing. Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, you don't.
Fanned off at the end there.
Yeah, he lost his accent. That is a
It's a good joke to start it off too.
Yeah.
That was.
that is an interesting concept. I guess
Never heard that
I guess
before.
it would limit the amount of inside shots.
There'd be more crease dives.
Well, yeah, I feel like there'd be more. You'd have to legalize the crease dive. You'd have to make it legal to dive in the crease, right?
Which
Like,
they just solved.
yeah, I think they solved it.
It's
Yeah,
complete 180.
it is a little bit.
Well, you can make the goal mouth bigger. You could just also eliminate crease dives or whatever. Like the whole point is you're playing more on the perimeter and it's harder to get closer to the net.
When you say everything, most of the things on SportsCenter are diving in front of the crease and doing something crazy.
On TLN. Yeah,
So I don't know.
I think it would make it a lower scoring game.
for sure. Absolutely. It's a huge
definitely
advantage for
would.
the defense. I mean, it eliminates the inside roll. You can't.
Yeah.
It's really hard to inside roll if the crease gets bigger.
Yeah.
True. Like when you turn the corner, you're a little further.
And we give Kark a lot of shit. I want to come back to the joke. We gave him a lot of shit. I thought he had a good performance for the Syracuse Notre Dame game. He had some lines to like, he's the guy who steps in and does the theatrics right before they go to commercial. And he had some good ones. And I mean, when he nails it, he's just got a like big fist pump. Nailed it. Like, yeah.
When did he stop shaving people's heads? When did he stop doing that? Giving people
question.
haircuts.
Oh,
Did he do that?
Yeah. Remember? It was
Yeah. He would do an interview and he'd give you a haircut while he was
Oh,
interviewing.
yeah.
you.
like, now it's just the Charlotte North halftime
I
show.
was going to say, did he give
Are
Charlotte
they
North
going to
a
make a
haircut?
new one?
I think they have, but like they've been shoving down the Charlotte North halftime show down our throats for months now. Like
Yeah.
it's like a year.
I think it's their only like commercial that they run.
Like Charlotte North. Nothing against her, but like, isn't there something
Nothing.
else you can
Yeah.
put on?
Yeah. You would
Don't you
think.
Something.
want to attract people to the WPLL? Because that's doing the opposite, in my opinion. It's like Jesus
Well,
Christ.
I was
Whatever
gonna
it
say.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's
My apologies.
I don't think it's pushing people away. I just think like there's got to be something else, like another girl or another guy.
You know, it'd be great.
Something
Like if
different.
they like on these big ESPN broadcasts or like Big Ten broadcasts, they did like a 5-minute segment on like a historic coach or like the start of like Ohio State lacrosse or something. Like just like a nice little like history lesson or something.
Yeah.
Like a little segment that people actually want to watch.
Right.
Not just random commercials and like the we're waiting for you to come back screen.
So when did you start going around the world?
Can you show me that quick?
So when you get to 5-5, what are you thinking?
How do you beat someone from X?
Through X.
Next call.
Touching on the PLL a bit, this is adaptive goaltending out of Utah. He's talking about rule changes also.
Yeah, my hottest take is I prefer the PLL rules over the college rules as far as shot clock codes, field dimensions go, and I think it would be better if college adapted all of that.
Not all of it.
Not all of
I
it, some of it.
completely disagree.
What do you disagree most with?
Mike's a traditionalist.
Shot clock especially. I think it takes away, especially defensively. It just takes away team defense. It's just go now, dodge, somebody beat somebody, done. There's no like get a stop, slide, continue another stop, like entire defensive shot clock of 60 seconds and then maybe a reset to do it again. It's like dodge kind of stupid offensive shot and it's going the other way. It's too quick to me. It kind of takes away the 6v6 aspect, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I don't think the shot clock, like, you could shorten the shot clock. I don't think it would make a huge difference. I think the field dimensions, I don't love the size of the PLL fields. I think it's just it is just very up and down, and like it really promotes transition, but transition in a sense where if there's a save or a turnover, it's one pass up and you're out. And like I don't want to say that's too fast, but like transition should be a rare opportunity where you have to execute and capitalize on it. And I think when you have double the amount of chances, it kind of loses its like luster a little bit. I do think having a 2-point line in college would be exciting.
That would be cool. I think that'd be cool from like deep, from like 16 yards or something like that. 52 seconds is too short. I think it's too short. It changes the game completely.
So in the PLL, is there any limit to get the ball over the midline?
20 seconds.
You get 20 seconds on a shortened field to get the ball over the midline in the PLL?
No one rides, though.
That's what I was going to say. Right. There's no ride.
And then isn't it even shorter from the face-off?
Yes, it's
the shot clock.
Yeah,
30,
like
32 seconds.
Yeah,
like is there?
You have a face-off guy, and he's got to play offense or get off immediately. You don't even have an offensive set.
I mean, what it would do
go.
is it would you would have to promote two-way middies and guys who can play offense and defense, which I'm for that, but I think there's also something beautiful about the specialty positions in our game and guys being the best they can at being a D midi or being a face-off guy or being a wing guy or something like that. Like there's more roles available for those guys who earn it,
Yeah. To have an open mind, maybe it makes the game a little more entertaining. But I side with traditionalists like Michael.
It would be really interesting to watch a college lacrosse game with PLL rules. Take away all the sponsorships and all the like distractions on the jerseys and all these like spotlights and like see
the goal horn.
Duke versus Maryland in a PLL size field. Like that would be a pretty exciting product, I think.
Or Syracuse versus the Cannons.
Yeah.
On a PLL
cool.
With PLL rules.
And then maybe a little bit less RJ Kaminsky and Rabel. A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
But I will say something I do like about the PLL is how they let him play. They don't call much.
Yep.
And I like that. I wish that was in college because some games they call everything. You can barely hit anybody. In the PLL, they fuck each other up a little bit. Yep. I like that.
College Lacrosse Game Day, PLL, NCAA Classic.
One game per year.
Let's make it happen.
In the Dome.
In the Dome.
Gary will sponsor it.
In the JMA.
They used to do that with Team USA, and Denver would play them, or I think Cornell played them one year.
NC, they had like MLL teams scrimmage college teams.
They definitely
That
do.
used to be a thing. The Machine used to play against like Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right. Lastly, we got good old Will Perry calling in. He said he had to leave the office quick. Hopefully he didn't get locked out when he did it. Here's Will.
What's up, guys? Perry here. Got a quick take for you guys. Dark horse for national championships right now. Would love to hear what you guys have to say. But if I was to go with anybody, I'm going to go with the Richmond Spiders. Obviously, they've been stacking up a pretty good year so far that it might not be looked at as, your traditional long shot with the record that they have. But obviously, the conference that they're in and the lack of respect that they get for that, I think I'd consider them a very, for that. Would love to hear.
I mean,
it's a lot.
It would be historic if they made the Final Four.
And the rest of his take was saying, I'm not going to say UNC because they're the real deal. But that was the continuation.
They are the real deal.
Yeah,
he said national champion.
Yeah, is that what he was?
He sure did.
I mean, yes, like that would be unbelievable. But even if they made the Final Four, they'd be the first mid-major to make it since Loyola. Or Albany?
Towson.
Army.
Did they make the Final Four?
Maybe not, actually.
No.
Okay.
They didn't. Like I'm thinking
Navy.
Yeah, Navy. No, years ago. But
Yeah, a long time ago.
I think Towson was the most recent. Loyola, Albany. But still, I think for Richmond, too, they're a newer program. When did the Richmond lacrosse program begin? Like the early 2000s, the late?
Not long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
I hit my limit on ChatGPT, so
what are their?
Can't ask it.
Yeah, every question I want to ask requires some research. Like I want to know what the odds are for them to win. I want to know when their program started. But
yeah, there is
Richmond to the Final Four is not a crazy take.
It's
National
not.
champion would be historic.
But they got to beat
Final
St.
Four.
Joe's.
I mean, yes. I think the winner of the A10 can be a team that maybe sneaks its way into the Final Four. But as far as champion goes, my mind goes to the Big Ten. I think a team that comes out of the Big Ten is gonna pull it out this year. Ohio State's the hottest team, but I think maybe if it isn't Ohio State who wins, Penn State, Maryland, Michigan, Rutgers, one of those teams, if they end the year hot, could definitely carry all the way to the championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Richmond has High Point, UMass, and St. Joe's, the beef of the A10 left. So it'd be interesting to see how they do against them. Assuming they, win those 3 games, I think that they're still going to have to win the A10 to get a bid.
Yes.
They're ranked number 10 right now. Like, do they have a chance to get an at-large pick? Maybe if some crazy things happen, but they're probably gonna have to win the A10, and then, if they do that, they're a pretty battle-tested team, right? They beat Georgetown, they beat Virginia, they lost to Maryland, Cornell, and Duke, right? So 3 teams that you will see in the NCAA tournament.
They're not getting an at-large. It's not
Especially
happening.
if they lost to Duke.
Right, but yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to see a team like that, like a true top tier team. I guess there's just too many unknowns right now, but I mean, for a dark horse pick, it's a good pick for sure.
They started in 2014 too.
11 years ago.
Just over a decade.
That would be incredible. Thanks for all the call-ins. Another good call-in segment. We appreciate your contributions and your collaboration.
In your candor.
Your candor.
Dean's candor.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget to follow, all that shit. Water guns, that's a birthday party. That's a birthday party thing. A nail gun.
Children.
A nail gun puts a nail in something, and it stays there for 30 years. And it does and it keeps it there. And these nail guns are keeping their programs on top. Welcome back to our nail gun segment. It's a big segment. It's very important. It's a prestigious award. Screw the player of the week on Inside Lacrosse. If I were to give one out, it'd have to be Joe Beninati. He called Alex Ovechkin's first career goal, and he just called Alex Ovechkin's record-setting goal. Yep. And so Joe has had an illustrious career, has done so much for lacrosse, has an excellent voice that I tried to replicate as a play-by-play guy.
You got a piece of it. You kind of had your own spin at the end, but some of them were Joe Beninati, some of them were like a mix.
Yeah.
It was good.
His score call is just
yeah, you can't beat it.
No, never.
It's music.
That's a friendly reminder to go watch that reel.
Yeah.
It's good content.
Brett, talk about booze.
Gotcha. Looking for a bold, handcrafted spirit with real character? Meet Bully Boy. Bully Boy Distillers, based in Boston. It's a small batch distillery. They craft award-winning whiskey, rum, vodka, and more. I think we're going to get our hands on some vodka at some point soon. Whether you're sipping neat, mixing cocktails, Bully Boy delivers quality you can taste. Visit bullyboydistillers.com or ask for it at your local bar.
Who's our nail gun, Hayden?
All right, nail gun of the week. This week is Larkin Kemp. So Larkin Kemp, everybody knows him as the Brown LSM, a part of a couple historic teams, played professionally for a couple years. Since his playing days have come to an end, he's started a career as a writer, a journalist, you may say. But his column, or it's called the Kemp Report on Inside Lacrosse, is the best piece of lacrosse literature out there. I don't know if you guys have read it at all, but every week he puts out a report on the state of college lacrosse. He talks about the games, similar to something we do, but it's in a written format. But I truly don't know if there's a person out there who loves the game of lacrosse more than Larkin Kemp and appreciates the finer details of the game more than him. I would say that we're close to him, but Like, you guys have to read this report. Everybody listening has to go read this report. I think it's due time that he's earned a Nailgun of the Week because of, who he is and how he's such a true ambassador of the game. So, Larkin Kemp, congratulations. We're a big fan of yours, and we appreciate all you do for the game.
Cue his highlights.
I know.
Cue some of the plays he made as a long stick midi in the Ivy League.
He changed lacrosse.
And, like, as good of a player as he was, I think he might be a better writer. It's that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to get him on. That would be a privilege.
This is our gateway. Thank you, Hayden.
Yeah, clip it.
And we don't really know who chooses or whoever goes for the nail gun. We usually don't know it before they deliver it. So good little good sideline take there. I agree. He's got great hubris in his delivery. You can tell there's an Ivy League, an Ivy degree behind what he says.
Absolutely. He's also he's getting his MBA at Stanford right now, I believe. And he's an avid supporter of the Stanford women's lacrosse team. And I don't know. Everything he touches just seems to turn.
He's going to win the Nobel Prize next.
Yeah, I mean, he should.
He's gonna make a cameo for Hayden.
There are some other stories we want to make sure we cover our All Guts section.
All Guts, No Glory.
All Guts, No Glory. What we got? All Guts, No Glory games. We call it this because last year we had a segment called All Guts, No Glory. We did every single game, every single week last year, and All Guts, No Glory was a way to highlight some of the bigger stories that weren't talked about in our recap section. So we carried it over to this year. Pretty much that's all the games that we're not going to go into too much detail on, but are certainly worth mentioning. You're welcome, everyone. First, let's talk about EMAS Strings, who put together this weapon in front of us.
And I'll tell you what, Dan, that weapon in front of us, every night we say, we got to take this thing off of that little display and we got to put that on a shaft.
Yeah, every night.
And that's just the kind of, weapon that this guy delivers, this guy being Lucas Ondo of EMAS Strings. If you want a quality pocket strung traditionally, leathers, single string through the whole pocket, decent shooters, nice little nylon up top to keep it from knocking the plastic, please follow him on Instagram, DM him, CLG, or say that you've come from the show. You'll get $10 off of your order, but there's not a lot of people that are better at stringing traditional pockets than this kid.
You will not regret getting a traditionally strung head from Lucas Ondo.
You'll have it for the rest of your life.
Yes.
There won't be a kid or a friend at practice that won't want to pick that thing up and start playing with it.
No. You got to look at it for 10 seconds before you can start cradling. It's a masterpiece. All Guts, No Glory games. We're 68-46 on the year, which isn't terrible. It's not terrible.
We're kind of at the point where we might want to put percentages.
Next year, maybe we'll pick spreads for all the games, and that way it'll be a little more indicative of our successes when it comes to the betting instead of just straight winners. But who cares? That's next year. This is this year. This is Saturday, April 12th. First, we have Marquette, 1.5 goal favorites at Providence. In the Big East right now, Marquette is sitting at 1-1. They are tied for third. Providence is 0-2. They're tied for fifth place with St. John's. You got to be in the top 4 in order to make the tournament. So these two teams are fighting for that 4th spot. So huge Big East game. Crew's taking Providence in this one. And then we have BU, 3.5 goal favorites at Lafayette. Lafayette's pretty hot this year. In the Patriot League right now, BU sitting in 2nd place. They're 4-1 in conference. Lafayette is 3-3, 6th place. So they're looking for some insurance because only 6 teams make that conference tournament. Crew is taking BU in this game.
Next, we have Colgate, 3 goal favorites at Lehigh. Both are 3-2 in the Patriot League, tied for 3rd place. The team has Colgate in this game. Next, we have Fairfield, 2 goal underdogs traveling to Delaware. This is a good game. I mean, Fairfield came off loss to Stony Brook, which is a bit of an upset. They were undefeated. I think this was the at-large conversation game beforehand, but I guess that's a bit out of the picture, but it should be a good game.
100%. Then we have VMI at Robert Morris. This is an NEC matchup. Robert Morris is a 1.5 goal favorite in this game. Let me tell you a little bit about the NEC. Me and Mike know a thing about the NEC, the Northeast Conference. The conference we used to compete in when we played at Hobart. It went away for 2 years, I think, and it's back. And you probably don't have any clue who's in it because we didn't. And we have a lacrosse show, and we didn't know who was in the conference. So just going to run through this conference really quick. Robert Morris, they are tied for 1st place in the conference right now at 4-0. Does anyone know who they're tied with for 1st place in the NEC?
Lemoyne.
Really?
Lemoyne is 4-0.
Didn't they play
NEC.
in a blizzard recently?
Lemoyne?
Yes.
I don't know, but they're 4-0 in the NEC.
He just lost to somebody tonight.
They played Bucknell today in a
Oh, did
blizzard.
they? Oh, was it Bucknell? I thought it was Dartmouth for some reason.
And a complete nor'easter whiteout.
If
Good
you're
catch.
looking for an NCAA tournament before the NCAA tournament, look at the NEC. They're all playing for their lives.
They are. And this is a good matchup. VMI, so they're 2-2 in conference right now. 7-3 in the year. RMU is 4-0 in the conference. As I said, they're 7-4 on the year. So both teams having really great seasons. Just to tell you who's in the NEC. So it's RMU, Lemoyne, VMI, LIU, Cleveland State, Detroit Mercy, Wagner, and Mercyhurst. So that's kind of the landscape. This is a good game to watch. VMI is our pick for this one. Next game is Albany at Vermont. The Crew is... Are we split on this, Mike? Who'd you take? Who'd you take in this game?
This is my timeout.
Yeah, but first I want to let Mike, who'd you take here?
Give me Albany.
Albany. So the Crew is going to take Albany here just to set the stage for Hayden. Albany 2-2 in conference, Vermont 2-1 in conference. And this is a conference, the American East, that is super competitive. Bryant last year, 9-5 in the season, 4-3 in conference, missed the conference tournament somehow, even after beating Albany, who won the whole American East. So great game.
The American East is a great conference. I like Vermont. Excuse me. Cut that. I like.
I don't know about that.
Do not cut
I like Vermont in this game. Vermont recently played Princeton to 5 goals thanks to a newcomer, Max Frateroli, sophomore attackman. Played 3 games this year. Those have been the last 3. He has 11 points through those 3 games. So I think Chris Weiss up at Vermont has figured something out on that attack line. They also got Zach Davis, who's playing at a high level. I like Vermont. I think they're a competitive team. I think they're going to come on strong and make a real push for the American East, and that's going to start with beating Albany this Saturday.
Is it Vermont or Ferment? Because they have great kombucha up there on UVM's campus. They're famous up there in that area.
Brett. It's a good spin.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Misspoke. Sorry. Not perfect.
All right, next we have Dartmouth traveling to Yale. Yale are 3-goal favorites. We were split down the middle. Dartmouth is 1-2. Yale is 2-2. This is a must-win game for Dartmouth. Me and Dan are at Yale. Mike and Hayden are at Dartmouth.
We'll call our 5th roommate, Chris, for this one. Who, for listeners who don't know Chris, you'd have to picture like the who's the brother in Wedding Crashers? Who's like the artsy one? Mike, you know what I'm talking about.
Todd. He's in his room making paintings.
Yes.
I don't.
I woke up with my arms and legs tied to the bed frame with Todd hiding in the closet.
God, Chris is going to be mortified.
Mike, sorry, go ahead.
Was this one of your timeouts?
This is actually a timeout for me. Look, this is like kind of a must-win for both of these teams. Like, they are fighting for the 4th spot in the Ivy League tournament right now. Right? Obviously, you got Harvard, Princeton, Cornell. I think that 5th spot is going to go to Yale or Dartmouth. So whoever wins this game, it's huge for their resume. I like the way Dartmouth has been playing. I think they have a little more to play for. I think they're on, one of their best seasons ever. Yale is at one of their worst seasons ever. I just like Dartmouth and the mentality they have going into this game. I think they've been playing good lacrosse. I think they're a talented team, and this would kind of be a defining moment if they beat Yale in this one on Saturday.
Next, we have Penn going to Harvard. Might have some boots on the ground. Hayden might go with his old man, an alumni of Penn. I think this is a game where I think Harvard's 4-goal favorite. Penn's 1-3. Brown's below them at the bottom. Harvard tied with Princeton in second right now. Both of them are 2-1. The squad has Harvard here at home.
Hopkins at Penn State. Penn State is a 2.5-goal favorite in this one. The Crew is split on this game, so we'll have to ask our 4th roommate. Hopkins 3 losses in a row in the Big Ten to Rutgers, Michigan, and Ohio State. They are surprisingly struggling. Denver.
Timeout.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and you opened it up well, Dan. Yeah, when you look at the Big Ten, I think we kind of already spoke about this prior to Big Ten play. I think the last 2 teams I thought would be at the bottom of the Big Ten would be Hopkins and Penn State. Obviously, Hopkins is 0-3 in Big Ten, and Penn State is 1-2, tied with Maryland, but Maryland has the head-to-head with Penn State. Penn State is still in at-large contention, just how good the Big Ten is this year. Hopkins, you got to think, is probably teetering on the outside looking in. You got to start winning now if you're Hopkins. You're 0-3. I like Hopkins in this game. I think they bounce back against a good Penn State team. Just another gritty Big Ten game to watch.
It 100% is. Brett's putting in his pick for Georgetown. hosting Denver. And he says Georgetown. The Crew is taking Georgetown at home as 1.5 goal favorites against Denver. An obvious Big East clash, given different circumstances, could be a game of the week, but there's some other better ones this year. That should be a great game on Saturday.
Next, we have UNC, 3-goal favorites, traveling to Duke and Durham. Duke's 0-1 in the ACC. UNC is 1-0. So this should be a good clash. We have UNC in this.
Timeout. Just another, I think most years this game would be probably a game of the week just because it's UNC Duke. Obviously, Army-Navy, where it's America's game, I think is way more important
Without
and fun
question.
to watch than this game.
Yep.
Nonetheless, it's UNC Duke, and I know we talk enough about the ACC and how talented they are, but it's going to be a great game. It's only a 2.5 goal spread for a reason, pointed in UNC's favor, and I like UNC to win this game, but Duke's gonna give them a tough go. It could really go either way, and it's going to be a star-studded game for sure.
Next, we have High Point traveling to Richmond. Big spread here. Richmond is a 7-goal favorite. Across the board, we all took Richmond. Both teams undefeated in conference. So maybe a bit more on the line than we suspected.
Virginia at Notre Dame. This is the last game on Saturday. Notre Dame is a 5-goal favorite in this game. This game's on ESPNU. This game's on ESPNU.
Why?
I think I could pick 6 games I'd rather on ESPNU before this one. Probably more than that. I think I'd rather VMI Robert Morris on ESPNU.
Why?
I've seen enough of Virginia. I know who they are. I've seen plenty. They're not getting an at-large.
That's lacrosse.
They're done.
That's lacrosse.
Notre Dame is going to win by around 5 goals. And we'll move on. Shut my mouth, Lars.
I think UVA wins.
Okay. That's... Put your money where your mouth is, Fry. Sunday, April 13th, Michigan, 1.5 favorite at Rutgers. Rutgers has Big Ten wins over Hopkins and Maryland. Rutgers has shut our mouths. They've shut us up. Is Lars going to do it? We don't know. But the Crew is taking... It's split. It's split in this game, so we'll go to our artsy roommate for the last pick.
Mike, are you going to go to that game on Sunday at Rutgers?
I will be coming back home from Atlantic City, and I can't imagine I will be able to make it to that game.
What, you got a pool
You never
tournament?
know, though. Yeah, I got a pool and darts tournament, and hopefully when I put my money on black, I come out with money without I don't lose too much. But we'll move on.
You're getting close to a Trump impersonation. You're like
We started talking about money, it's. We'll move on.
You got to give it to us.
I'm still waiting for it.
One day.
Maybe in our Games of the Week segment. Moving on now. Don't forget to like, follow, all that stuff. Also, we have a link tree. We got merch that's behind us right now. There's some good stuff. Take a look. We'll help you out if you need some advice on sizes, whatever it is. We appreciate all the support. We don't get a dime from it. Don't know who made that decision, but take a look.
Yeah, there's also, we just put a koozie on too. You got to get a koozie for your old man.
Get a koozie.
Bring something to the Final Four. We'd love to see it.
What a gift. What a gift for Mom for Mother's Day. A nice koozie.
Locked in.
College Across Game Day koozie.
You need something to put your shock tops in.
We're very lucky, to say the very least. Yeah, these are our games of the week. We have 3 games of the week. Our games of the week. We're just fired up to present to you our games of the week. We do this for you. You know who you are. It's not for us. It's for you. It's for the game. It's for the love of the game. It's given us so much. This is our penance for everything lacrosse has done for us. And these are our games of the week for week 10 of the college lacrosse season. We're going to start with the moment we've all been waiting for. Army at Navy. This one's at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. They always do an excellent job of the broadcast. And someone made a great point about CBS Sports. When they go all out for lacrosse, they put a microphone in the cage. And when you hear that ball hit the back of the net or ping the crossbar, it feels like you're sitting on a lawn chair at GLE watching our future leaders just go to battle. And this is a great matchup, a big spread that raises eyebrows across our team. ChatGPT said this is the 105th meeting between the two teams. I know you guys both have a lot to say about Army. I'd be curious to learn a little bit more about Navy. I know they got a great goaltender, but Mike, I'll start with you just to provide some maybe history on the matchup as well as your thoughts, what to see from a defensive perspective, because I think we're going to see a lot of great defense on Saturday.
And before that, I got to say, God bless America.
Yeah.
God bless our troops.
Yep.
We live in the greatest country on the goddamn earth, okay? I want everybody to know that before I get into this game.
I'm not laughing. It's a good
Thanks,
reminder.
Mark.
Sometimes people forget that.
People
Sure
forget
do.
that.
So thank you.
People forget that. This game is a reminder of that, and it's always just a great game. I mean, it's the greatest rivalry in all of sports. Army-Navy. Football, obviously, is the big highlighted game, but this lacrosse game gets a good crowd, man, and it gets chippy for sure. Dan was mentioning the history. If you go on Army or Navy schedule, you look at history, they only show back to 2001, but from that we can see that Navy leads the series 15-12, so pretty tight. Army's won the last two. They won last year 13-8 at home in front of 10,400 people, getting close to that Cuse number of fans we were just talking about earlier. Obviously electric at that stadium. I'm sure in Annapolis, Maryland, it'll be a great showing. Obviously a hotbed for lacrosse, and the game, right? And I think screw the records this year, right? Navy could be 1-8. It doesn't matter. Army could be undefeated. This game's going to be tight. I love the spread in this. I think Navy can win this game outright against Army. And Dan mentioned it. It's going to be a defensive slugfest. Navy always has guys. Jackson Bonds, to name one from last year. They have those types of guys, and then obviously AJ Pilot this year on Army.
AJ Marsh on
they're-
Navy too. I got to call him out. Number 11, the big defender for Navy. If
There you
Navy wins a faceoff, they send number 11 streaking down the field for that start of that offensive possession. He's got a few goals this year, and he's fun to watch. Number 11, he'll be in white on Saturday.
Yeah, this is just always a great game. Speak a little bit about Army's offense here, because I feel like we think we talk about Army a lot, but it can never be enough. Jackson Eicher is one of the most, I don't want to call him underrated attackmen, because I think he's going to be a first or second team All-American, but he plays at a different level. Big frame, slick lefty. He just dictates where he wants to go. And then I really like Braden Fountain, freshman attackman from Georgia for Army. He's come a long way this year. And then when you have the Plunkett brothers at midfield for Army, it's an explosive offense. And I think we talk about their defense a lot, as we should, but their offense is mature. They're electric. They're lightning quick. They're smart. They're great decision makers. I really like Army winning this game, but Mike, as you said, like both these teams could be, one could be number 1 in the country, the other one could be 10, and this would be a game. So I like, the spread in this one. It's always a close game. Navy's going to put up a hell of a fight, especially at Marine Corps Stadium on CBS, and they're going to have the yellow lines. One of my favorite things that they do.
The Navy yellow lines.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sight. I think every lacrosse field in the country should have yellow lines. It looks fantastic. And they're like thick yellow lines.
Right. That's what Coach Raymond always said. The game is played between the yellow lines. He sees them. Mike, I cut you off talking about Army's defense, and there's a lot of guys to mention. I mean, Christian Fournier, you got AJ Pilot, whatever you want to call it, Ryan Nixon. They got some studs.
Dan Daly, the goalie for Navy, is also a stud. Small guy, but shows up in big moments. So
certainly, we're watching every second of that one. That's going to be on the big screen for sure at the satellite. Army Navy 12:30 on Saturday. Cannot wait. Our next game of the week: Syracuse Cornell. Cornell is a 1.5 goal favorite in this game. It is at Mitchell Field in Uniondale, New York. I spent a good 10 minutes trying to figure out who plays here, if it's a high school or whatever. Yeah. I couldn't quite figure it out, but that's okay because no one cares. At 4 p.m., this game is on College Lacrosse Live. I don't know if we're going to have to pay for that. I don't know.
If that's not open source on the internet, they're going to hear about it.
It's like we've never heard of it. So
College Lacrosse Live?
Yeah.
So Lacrosse TV, maybe?
No. It could be.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Is it free?
Dan, remember?
That's the question. It is.
Yes. I think you just have to sign up with an email.
That's how they get you.
Data farming.
Well, we will see what the result is of that.
Yes, because we're going to try to watch it. It's at 4 o'clock. So
Maybe it's going to be great. Maybe the broadcast will be great.
I'm looking up pictures of this field. There's a track that goes around the field.
Don't love that.
I do not like that for the camera angle. The stands don't rise up that far. This camera angle could be a problem, especially with College Across Live.
Yeah, not if it's ESPN. Like you trust them, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, this could be.
They'll
a
use
shit
like
show.
a 30-foot man lift, and they'll film it.
Yeah,
There's going to be some guy's finger in half the broadcast.
This could be a total disaster, but we'll see.
I got a feeling it's going to be Booker Corrigan. That's like something like this.
That'd be sick.
I feel like it's going to be Booker, but nonetheless,
I bet it's going to be like that Duke Denver broadcast, which that was the one Booker was on. That camera angle is not great. It was almost field level.
No, it was like a high school game.
Yeah. All right.
And it's Syracuse Cornell, like 1 versus 4. Oh, it's a great game, and I'm going to watch it somehow, one way or another. If I get to check out and they're like, it's 99.99, we're doing it. We're getting dominoes.
It's a business decision.
Let's talk about this game. Syracuse Cornell. It's a pick 'em for sure. Cornell's a 1.5 goal favorite, but Syracuse just beat Notre Dame. Hayden, I'll start with you in this game. Who do you like and what do you like?
Yeah, so, Cornell's been the number 1 ranked team for the past couple weeks now. They're certainly deserving of being the number 1 team. Am I 100% sold on that they are the best team in the country? I don't know. I think if you were to ask me, who my Final Four would be, I don't know if I'd include Cornell in that. I think I'd include Syracuse in it. So, I don't think the rankings matter. Obviously, these guys aren't thinking about the rankings, right? They're just thinking about winning this game. For Syracuse, this is going to be a statement win. I guess for both programs, this is going to be a statement win, whoever comes out on top. But I like Syracuse after they beat Notre Dame. I do think they had a pretty nice home field advantage there. So I don't know. I think, just like my initial thought is that Cornell typically plays better at these neutral site games. Like I can't remember the last time Syracuse played a neutral site outdoors game.
It's got to be against Hopkins last year in non-playoffs. Hopkins last year, I think they played in Charlotte.
Okay. I mean, it'll be interesting. I don't know. I just don't really know. I'm excited to watch this game.
Searching repository.
Syracuse neutral site.
Give me.
Do you guys remember this game last year?
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
It was a midweek
Pretty sure I was
game.
at your house.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
Yes,
that was a sick
we were
game.
recording that night, and it was
yes,
it was breathtaking. I had to go to CVS. We had to get a new SIM card. Remember for that thing?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
I mean, but
yeah.
18-17 in double overtime last year, and
Yeah.
Cornell had no business winning that game at the end. If you guys remember,
Yeah.
they just came back. It was insane.
The coach got kicked out. The coach, the OC for Syracuse, got ejected.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't know why.
Ithaca, New York.
Yes. At Show
Biased refs.
Yep.
But one thing I'd want to point out is, and I think most people will be watching or seeing this, is Cuse's defense versus Cornell's offense, and we've talked about Cornell's offense so many times. But I think it's important to note how much of a run TJ Kerr is on right now. He just surpassed, there was a whole post about TJ Kerr surpassing Mike French's 191 goal record at Cornell. TJ Kerr passed it in I think it was March 15th. So we're a couple games past this now. He already surpassed this? He's got 66 points on the year, 49 goals and 17 assists. He's scoring, I don't have the number, but I'm pretty sure he's averaging almost 6 goals a game, something around there. And then he'll be covered by, I would assume, Riley Figueres of Cuse. And it's important to note what Cuse's defense just did to Notre Dame, a very highly potent offense. I saw a stat that they held Notre Dame scoreless for just under 40 minutes straight to close out that game, which a team hasn't done to Notre Dame since May of 2019. They have a very good defensive head coach in Odierna.
Nailed it. Yep.
Odierna. Got it right. Manhattan head coach comes to be a defensive coordinator for Cuse. He's obviously a very, very good defensive culture and X's and O's to that team. So that'll be something to watch in that game.
Yeah, quick few comments. Odierna just got hired as a D coordinator for the Cannons, so hats off to him. That's a good hire. He is probably the best in the business when it comes to defensive coordinators. And then also on Mike French's record, Mike French did it in 3 years. took CJ Kurst 5. So
what year was Mike French playing?
Mid 70s, late 70s.
If CJ Kurst was playing during that time era, they would have called him a witch.
Yeah.
You would have rode off on his lacrosse stick like a broomstick.
They would have called him a witch.
He would have been hung.
He would have been tried and hung.
They would have burned him at the stake with his stick.
Let's see if he floats in water.
Let's see if he floats. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, CJ Kurst is on a different level right now. He's the best player in the game. Undisputed. I would say it's him, and then I don't know who's second, but there's a pretty large gap between whoever that is. So we'll see. Cornell is so talented. I think Michael Long on attack for Cornell is one of the most underrated attackmen in the country. Like, if he was on any other team, on any other attack line, he would be the go-to guy. He's like a TJ Malone type guy where he just creates for himself and he creates for others, and he is extremely underrated just because he's kind of overshadowed by how good CJ Kurst is. But Cornell is loaded. I think the only question mark in this game is Wyatt Nust, the goalie for Cornell. He hasn't been great this year. He's been serviceable and he's showed up in some big moments, but I think he is a little bit of a question mark for that Cornell defense. If he shows up, then I like Cornell, but you just never know.
Can't wait for that one. Last game of the week. We'll be quick here because we have talked about the Big Ten quite a bit today. Maryland goal and a half favorite at Ohio State. This one's at 2:00 p.m. Eastern on Big Ten Network. A lot to talk about that we've kind of already covered, so we'll be quick with this one. Hayden, I'll go right back to you. Who do you like? What do you like?
Yeah, man, I think it's just a test. This is going to be kind of a heat check for Ohio State. How good are they? How good are they actually?
Yep,
that's a simple way to say it.
No, it is. No, Maryland is for sure a measuring stick.
Yes, and Maryland, I still think they are one of the most complete teams in the country. I think they can beat anybody. I think they're so well coached. I know they're going into this game, dialed and just ready to go because whatever happened last year, and I think they need to prove to themselves that they didn't win that game on a fluke call or whatever. Right. So measuring stick game. Ohio State is legit, but how good are they really?
I mean, simply put, Ohio State is the hottest team in all of college lacrosse, and Maryland is not so hot right now. I want to take Maryland so bad. I want to pick Maryland money line and Ohio State's going to finally hit a wall here, but I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be a gritty game, and like you guys said, this will be a really good test for Ohio State to see where they're at.
Before betting on this, I want to know who's wearing what. Is Maryland going to show up wearing all black, or is Ohio State going to take that privilege from them? If I was Ohio State, I'd say, boys, we're wearing black. Maryland's not showing up. But then again, Maryland will be wearing red at Ohio State.
Maryland is great in red.
No, they lost last week. Rutgers wore black. Rutgers said,
"You're right.
Sorry, coach. We're wearing black. Figure it out."
Historically, Maryland's good in red.
Yeah.
They look good in black, though.
The black is just scary. You see Maryland walking in your field.
Like stormtroopers.
I bet Ohio State wears silver.
Yeah. That's probably the best jersey matchup. The Big Ten
Silver
too.
versus
Their
black.
uniforms are just perfect. That's it for games of the week. Now our step down picks.
Shame.
Hayden, what was your
Shame.
Hayden, what was your step down pick last week?
My step down pick was VMI minus 3.5 against Cleveland State.
And what was the score of that game?
11-9 VMI.
Close one.
I didn't watch it. I don't know what happened. But Brett, what was your step down pick?
My step down pick was Fairfield minus 2.5 versus Stony Brook.
And what happened?
They lost in overtime, Hayden.
Yep. First loss of the year.
17-16 was the score. Yep.
That's a tough one.
A thriller. A thriller nonetheless. All right, moving on. Step down picks for this week.
Okay.
Brett, we'll start with you.
Okay. I hate banking on the hot teams again, but I like Rutgers plus 1.5 hosting Michigan.
It's a good one.
I don't know. I feel like it will happen.
My pick, I'm going to the CAA. I'm taking Delaware minus 1.5 at home against Fairfield. I think face value, you tell me this is the spread at the beginning of the season. I think we're all taking Delaware, and we're not even thinking about it, so I'm not going to think about it.
Staying away from 0-1 Fairfield. I'll just lay it out here. It's about time. Someone said it. My step down pick is St. Joe's minus 7.5 hosting Hobart.
Who's
look,
that?
They're that D3 team that won a bunch of national championships back in the day.
Oh, gotcha.
Not the D3.
Look, you guys, it's not your fault, fellas. It's not your fault.
You guys left the program better than you found it.
It's not your fault.
I would disagree. I take some ownership for.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
No, I take ownership. It takes a village, and we're part of that village, Mike.
Anyhow.
Anyway.
Hobart played Richmond. They covered last week, which was impressive, but I like St. Joe's. I think they're going to stat pad this game, get some of their guys on the All-American list, and this is a game to do it.
All right.
Against the purple and orange.
We'll move on here.
Mike, what do you like?
I'll close this out. Both my grandparents, Kenneth Christensen and Marty Rankin, were in the Navy. We're going to go Navy plus 5.5 against Army. They're covering that shit.
Yeah.
Dang it.
That is a feed the family pick.
I like that pick a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's a good pick. And usually we don't pick our step downs on games of the week, but
I'd feed my kids with that. I mean, that's paying for private school.
Feed the nation.
Navy plus 5.5. That's paying for.
Don't give up the ship.
Yep. Do not give up the ship. Yeah. Yeah. Any other lines?
I respect Hobart. I didn't want to come across as disrespectful to the program, but
Provide some detail.
We're just feeling the fire.
Hobart has
be
been
little and bash.
And
Dine and dash.
I love you guys. I love all the other Hobart guys listening to this, but we all know that they've been struggling a little bit, and I think we've been beating around the bush for a little bit, right? We hold other teams accountable. We hold, teams that we don't know anything about accountable for some of their losses. And sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. But right now, Hobart needs to be held accountable. They need to play this game tough, and they need to show up in these games, and they have to put up a fight, right? I think they always put up a fight early on in games, and they play 2 or 3 quarters, but I haven't seen a full game out of them this year, and I watch a lot of their games, and I'm rooting very badly for Hobart. As this season has shown this far, I'm willing to take a tennis ball to the back with St. Joe's minus 7.5.
Yeah.
Fair?
Well, I'd definitely be willing to take a tennis ball for RPI money line against Union on April 12th. That's for sure.
That might be a bad pick.
All right, you want to double down on that?
I can't talk much about Derek Witherford's Union Garnet Chargers this year. I haven't watched too much, but
hey, at least Hobart didn't change their mascot, so got that going for you.
we are still the state's men.
It's an all-boys school.
For context, it went from the Dutchmen to the Garnet Chargers.
Yeah. We're
charging
backing
into the future.
We're backing it. It's a good name. It's a good name.
I mean, I like left or right, I don't really care, but the Garnet Chargers, we are EV heavy. We are changing the world. We are Garnet and we are proud.
One Tesla and one lefty on the run at a time.
Yep.
All right. Thanks. Enjoy the Creators game this weekend. Thanks so much. That was healthy. That was good.